Yeah, I had a very real example of this yesterday. It was actually a breakthrough in a way, very subtle, but I noticed that there was this particular kind of woman showing up in my world that I was drawn to, but it wasn't like an authentic draw. It almost felt like it was, well, you could say it was an authentic draw. It was like a projection that like something I was projecting onto them that I had not fully connected to within myself, which is why it was attractive. It was like, ooh, I want that thing, being under the mistaken unconscious idea that it existed outside of me only, not within, right? So elegance is the word that came to me. Like, I met this woman, she was elegant. Then I was journaling and I was like, huh, elegance. Why am I drawn to that? Like, but I'd never actually connected to that frequency, that energy, that elegance within myself, let's just say that. And that's something that doesn't come very naturally to me. I wouldn't call myself an elegant person, an elegant being.
Okay.
And so I was like, okay, well, what's my expression of that? Like, where does that exist within myself? And collapsing that projection, taking that back in a way, noticing that my draw to her was for that purpose,
Yes,
for me to see.
Fair enough.
Right, and so actually at that moment, I noticed that there was a waitress who also was exactly that thing, and I was like, oh my God, now I just
Seeing it
realized
everywhere.
yeah, I've seen it everywhere, elegance, right? So, and so I went through a process, but it felt very unnatural for me to actually. So I was like, usually it's somewhat easy for me to embody something that, like, if I get a sense of what it is, I can be like, okay, I'll go buy something that makes me feel that way or whatever. But this one was especially subtle. Anyways, what drew my attention to this is what you're talking about, how the doing things that are unnatural. I feel like for me personally, it is that full spectrum integration that I'm interested in.
Yes.
Because it does all exist within, even if it is not natural, native to this body, this soul, or this being. It's still, as the one, it is part of me.
Exactly, and you can learn that either in your life or, I even reading scriptures. It's incredible. It's like you can feel exactly the word can help you know where you're off. Or in life, Milarepa said, my Dhamma book is my life, and that's exactly the situation. If you're sensitized to the point, and that's the point in many ways of one aspect of the point of meditation is to be so conscious and aware that you pick up little strings. You're hyper aware of where the next thing is. It doesn't mean that you're necessarily psychic or that people have to go ooh ooh ooh. It's just more importantly within yourself. At any one moment, what's missing? What can I do here? Do I have the time and space to address this now? And when you say elegance, incidentally, there's a feminine aspect to that, right?
Right.
And with any situation, it's like separating. In nearly in every situation, there's a truth and an element of truth and an element of untruth, right? So it's like separating your ego from the truth of the situation. So elegance might often be like a kind of an arrogance,
Yes,
right? But you don't. That's not what you're attracted to.
No.
It's a kind of a fineness, and often when we're in the world, that's the first thing we lose is our fineness. When we go in our egos, it's like, and that's when we see an object that goes, wow, I really want that. And when we really go back into ourselves, we do realize ultimately there's nothing wrong with engaging with that in the world, but finally you will find that fineness and that elegance within yourself, and then consequently that's the whole motor of tantra or practice in many ways. Is that will not become, that will not be less and less necessary. It will be you will be less and less enslaved by the vision of that object.
Right, because I have it.
Because you have it?
Right.
Yeah, and in a sense, it's like when life really tries to teach you lessons, like saying, holding up this shiny object in front of you, you go like this, and then it takes it away from you, then you can begin to learn that, okay, if it's there, if it's meant to be mine now to learn temporarily, then I will embrace that. But if it's taken away, I know already that I have that. It's like we were talking about sexuality in general, which is a huge thing for people, a very deep set of patterning. It's like, for me, one of the classic, very simple versions of what Tantra is about from my own experience is like, so you lose someone you're madly in love with and you have this incredible grief, this brokenness, and you want, your first human instinct is, I want that back. And it even like supervenes all your wisdom, your body just says, no, I I need that. I can't think about anything else until I get that. And you know that you've turned insane. and life is teaching you a pretty big lesson.
Right.
And you don't even have control over it, because somewhere your cells are just going to have to get it.
Yeah.
But one of the keys is like just to sit down sometimes and I know that. I can take the best of that, and I can re-experience that now. You know, separate from the person that I thought was so necessary, that 1 in 7 billion people who was just so incredibly important. I mean, it's insane, right? In a way, but all they did is they brought you that thing to learn from.
Right.
And you can, as in the Tibetan paintings or the Buddha and the consort, you can experience that bliss now. Now, of course, to an ordinary human being, it's like, well, no, I want to experience the full sensory sensation. Of course, that's fantastic. But it's about the essence. The essence is the unity that you experience. The essence was that moment of, I know what it's, and you know, you have that forever. If you look, you have that, and you've been given that forever. You know, you don't have to be in a situation of need and want in that.
Yeah.
You can collapse that and just be with your memory of what the essence of that union was. And you know, you do that again and again, and it will dispel in time. Or it'll certainly get you through the madness of that incredibly deep karma that we have with the opposite sex, or same sex, depending on the situation.
Yeah. Well, I feel like the interesting thing about that as well is that when you know, I heard Adyashanti, you know who Adyashanti is, right? There was a clip I listened to where he was talking about, if you want something, give it, and then you'll find out that it shows up 1,000 times in your reality. And it's like, that's very simple, but at the same time, it's like, if you can connect to the essence of something, like you're saying, that is the source material of the creation itself, right? So it's like we think that it's the thing that we want, but really, of course, what we want is the essence of it. Definitely. That is where the fulfillment is, and of course that exists within us, and that's why it's being reflected back to us. So it's like when people are chasing money, for example, my personal journey around that was like realizing that, okay, there is this desire for it, and there's this idea that I need it, and there's this chasing of it, and my whole life is about, you know, finding a way to make it. And then it's like, but wait a second, let me go deeper. Like, what is money? Like, where does it, like, what is it essentially? Exactly. And when I connected to that, and I actually, you know, and it was a process to like, because on a cellular level, or at a collective level, there's this agreement that it is something that is needed. It's the thing, right? And so for me,
exist in economic scarcity.
Right.
There's only so much resources to go around. This is where New Age thinking and all that stuff is totally right. It's just it's abundance.
Right. So breaking free of that conditioning, what you just said, of like it's the reality we find ourselves in, and really connecting to the essential. Like, what is this money? It's part of a stream that is what? Well, what is it? It's a feeling. I can access it. I can access the essence. And once I had it, of course, the money shows up, as well as other things that are in that same stream. Yeah. But it's like the money's a reflection of, it's one with me. Right. I have it, yes. Right? So yes. It's you know, that's the process that I find myself in with regards to, I mean, it's money, it's anything that we really desire, right? Yeah, it's like, exactly. So when we connect with that essence, like you're saying, the funny thing is that, you know, once I have it, it's like, oh, then the thing shows up on its own effortlessly, and I have it, but it doesn't have that. It's like, seek ye first the kingdom of heaven, and then all things shall be added unto you, right? It's like, yes, that experience is very real for me personally, in the sense of like, with money, for example, it's like, okay, I have the essential thing, the kingdom of heaven. I found it within, and now I get to have the money, and it's cool to have. Like, so it adds to the experience. It's like the beautiful woman that I don't need, but I have. But now we have the experience.
It's
right?
Like people finding a relationship is when you don't need it, you get it. But I mean, right. As you say, it's like that's the true essence of what, you know, they were trying to get at in The Secret. You know, it's not so much like you're flicking through a catalog. it's like you be the oneness. Right. And the critical element is that you have to know that is more real than this. That is the essence again. Right. This is where New Age came from Buddhist Tantra. Right. Actually, is because you fully realize that this is dreamlike in its nature, right, and that therefore any dream, it really is possible. Right. And this is literally a denuded dream. It's
Yeah.
it's reality dumbed down in a
Yes,
sense,
yes,
right?
yes, yes.
So they have the term clear appearance as
Invisible
against
is what
ordinary
is real.
appearance. This world,
Yes.
this life that you
Yes.
think is so real, is ordinary appearance. They say, don't do that.
Right.
Just don't do. And that's exactly what the secret guys say.
Yeah,
It's true.
yeah.
That to that extent, it's true.
Yes.
Even though often they're quite like you do it for you. They're mixed up in
Yeah,
quite a bit of
that's-
ego, which is
It's like, do this and then you get that. But it's like, wait a second, that's not even what you really want. What you really want is the essential. It's the truth in that, right?
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah.
so that's the thing that always kind of got me about The Secret. It's like, when I hear someone saying, oh, I want to, like, I'm going to do all this work so that I get.
Exactly.
Like, that, you're missing the point, because like you're saying, it's the what is it? This world is like a watered down version of the essential thing that exists,
Yeah, you
right?
have to
So,
know that.
right, but, and that's what's actually fulfilling. Without it, it's just a shell.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, beautiful woman, oh, money, blah, 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 but you don't feel it. There's no experience of the fullness of it being.
Exactly.
truth.
And that falls back into the same paradox again. It's like, do you work from the person out? And it's legitimate for some people who literally don't have any sense of transcendence. They have to work through their selfishness, and hopefully that
Yeah.
will fall apart, as we were discussing. But if you don't, I mean, it is implicit in there, but and it's reasonable enough, because often things were left unsaid.
Yeah.
In the traditions, like the Hindus talked about being, and Buddha just didn't mention it. He said, like, look at all the phenomena, and he didn't put a word on being. So that's okay. It's like, which angle do you come from? But it is a danger to think that's a final stopping point, because there are a lot of people walking around
Well, like
thinking
having all
the
the
be
stuff,
all
you
and
mean?
end all is to have all the stuff
Right.
and to create it.
Right.
And I'm such a manifester and so forth. But the reason, what will actually make you a great manifester is if you keep the other side
Yeah.
clearly in view, and that is that, well, in the end, this is not about you and what you get.
Right.
I mean, that's if you see the traditions, that's the fundamental illusion, right? It's if you want to convert law of attraction to something more useful, as I was saying the other day, it's like, dream up your perfect dream for yourself. Why would I have money? The feeling of freedom. I can go anywhere. I can do anything. And then wish the same for every other being at minimum. Right? Tibetans would take it even further. Just put them first. Then you get real nobility of spirit. But they would say you can't practice tantra until you have that bodhicitta, which is the desire to have it for other people. So
Yeah.
they would be very reticent about all that secret stuff,
Yeah.
because it's like, absolutely, I want it for me, and just as much I want it for you, and I want it for my friends, and I want it for, and then just like Metabhavana, the loving kindness meditation, and then I want it for the people who appear to be my enemies. They're not really my enemies, they just appear to be my enemies. They're in my world, they're my karma
Yeah.
to be seeing now. And let's collapse all these literalities and that keep us like locked into this whole, good bad push pull thing that is, the samsaric meat body world that we're calling real.
Yes.
Yeah.